Today I'll be reviewing the XP Pen Artist 24 Pro Display Tablet. I'll cover the features of this tablet, test its performance, and compare it to some similarly sized display tablets. This video is not sponsored. I was lent this tablet by one of my friends who purchased it with their own money. All opinions in this video are my own. The XP Pen Artist 24 Pro is a drawing tablet with a built-in display you can draw directly onto. You can use it to create digital art, animations, graphics, 3D models, and more. It comes with power, video, and data cables for connecting the display to your computer, a drawing glove to prevent smudges on the screen, 2 stylus pens and a pen case, a USB-C to USB-A adapter, a pen holder that mounts to the side of the display and a screwdriver to attach it, and a packet with instructions, a warranty card, and a cleaning cloth. The Artist 24 Pro has an active drawing area that is 24 inches diagonally. The full dimensions are 24.8 inches wide by 14.5 inches tall by 1.76 inches deep. The large screen makes it easy to draw with large gestures, and there's plenty of room for your canvas and the application interface. The Artist 24 Pro is the larger, more advanced version of the Artist 15.6 Pro, which I reviewed in another video. This version has double the resolution at 2560 by 1440 QHD, which looks very crisp. It's great that these display tablets are no longer limited to 1080p. The Artist 24 Pro can be connected to your Windows or Mac, desktop, or laptop using the included HDMI or USB-C cables. If you connect video through HDMI, you will also need to connect a USB-A cable to transmit data. A power cable is also required. The USB-C only method works great, but you'll need to make sure your computer supports display output over USB-C alt mode in order for this to work. This display is not laminated, but parallax is minimal and it doesn't interfere with drawing. However, when you tilt the pen, the cursor does become noticeably offset. An anti-glare film has been pre-applied to the display to diffuse reflections. The film has not been very well applied and I can already see a bubble on the edge. I'm sure you can get a replacement film, but it's not a pleasure to apply. As far as the feel of the pen on screen, it feels like you're drawing on plastic film. It feels weird against your skin, so I'd recommend using the glove. Yay, sweaty hands. A buffer zone surrounds the active drawing area, which gives you some distance between the screen and the edge of the bezel. I do wish this was a bit wider because if the pen hits the bezel, it will probably fray the edges of the anti-glare film. The color accuracy is pretty good at 90% of Adobe RGB and 100% of sRGB and NTSC. According to my colorimeter, my measurements matched XP Pen's listed specifications. However, the before and after shows this display is not pre-calibrated and can benefit from some color calibration. The Artist 24 Pro comes with a battery-free stylus. There are 2 programmable shortcut buttons on the side of the pen, but no eraser. The pen has 8,192 pressure levels, which sounds great on paper, but the deal breaker for me with these budget tablets is the line quality and pressure response. The lower end of the pressure works really well. I can barely touch the screen and register a line, but when I apply pen pressure, the transitions and size feel a little jumpy to me. Worst of all, when I draw slowly, the lines have some wobble to them. I experienced this in every application I tried. This pen supports pen tilt, which can change the shape of your brush by tilting your pen. Tilt works in Krita and Corel Painter, but as with the pen pressure, the transitions and size feel abrupt. The pen does not support barrel rotation, which can be useful for rotating the angle of flat brushes. Moving on to the stand, the Artist 24 Pro includes an adjustable stand that angles from nearly flat to nearly upright. It's definitely an improvement from the old stand designs found on budget display tablets like this. If you keep the tablet in a fixed position, the stand works well, but not when you try to adjust the angle. For starters, the locking mechanism doesn't catch the tablet as securely as I'd like it to, and the adjustment angle intervals are a little jumpy as well. But it gets worse. The most upright angle is too unstable, and the weight of the device makes it feel like it will topple over screen first. The stand should include a stopping mechanism to keep you from ever attempting this act of insanity. Not only could your display be knocked over by a cat at this angle, but what's worse is you'll be past the point of no return. After exceeding the magic threshold, it's impossible to angle the display back down without giving the display a quick reach around to pull out the legs. There are 4 screws connecting the stand, but you can also attach a monitor arm with the 100 by 100 millimeter VESA mounting holes. I think that would be a worthy upgrade for this display. Now let's look at some of the exterior features. On the top right edge of the display are touch-sensitive buttons to power the device on, access the display options, and change the brightness level. This display is capable of being quite bright. These aren't physical buttons that you have to press down, they sense your finger. Remember that pen holder that came with the Artist 24 Pro? Well, I'd love to show you how it attaches, but I wasn't able to find any instructions on how to connect it. There's a hole on either side of the display that's filled with a rubbery surface. I don't know if this pulls out or if you just screw the pen holder into it. In either case, I don't want to damage my friend's tablet, so I'll have to skip that. On the back of the display are two USB-A ports that you can use to connect your phone charger or other peripherals. This is a useful feature if you plan to leave your USB devices connected, but not if you'll be swapping out devices often because it's hard to see where you're plugging in the device. You may need to move the display or get behind it. While we're back here, I'd also like to mention that some of the cable connections feel a little weak. I'd be worried about this stuff getting yanked out. And no cable management is offered, so there's just this. Overall, the display feels sturdy, but the materials feel a little generic compared to the Cintiqs I've tried. Also on the exterior are a ton of shortcut buttons. There are a total of 20 buttons that can be programmed to invoke keyboard shortcuts, access commands, and open applications. The Artist 24 Pro features an ambidextrous design with the shortcut buttons on both sides. On either side is a radial wheel. You can spin these two wheels to zoom in and zoom out, resize your brush, or rotate the angle of your canvas. The wheels and shortcut buttons can be programmed in the control panel. XP Pen's control panel is more robust than some of the other budget brands I've tried. For example, you can set shortcut profiles for each individual application, as well as a global setting. You can even back up and restore your settings. This is good because sometimes I randomly lose my shortcut settings. One feature that's missing from the control panel is a way to adjust the tilt sensitivity. I think that's important to include since the tilt sensitivity feels a little jumpy. Now let's go through a couple of comparisons to other display tablets that are around 24 inches. There are other budget display tablets that could be directly compared. For example, you can get basically the same tablet from Huion. The differences aren't drastic enough to bother comparing, so instead I'll compare the Artist 24 Pro to a professional and an intermediate level Wacom Cintiq so you can get a feel for the differences in quality, value, and performance. For reference, the retail price of the Artist 24 Pro is $899 US. Let's start by comparing it to the Cintiq Pro 24, which is only a little more expensive at $2,499.95. The Cintiq Pro 24 has more accurate color at 99% of Adobe RGB. The Cintiq Pro 24 color is pre-calibrated. The Cintiq Pro 24 displays at a higher resolution of 4K. The Cintiq Pro 24 can also display 10-bit color, which is 1 billion colors rather than only 16.7 million. The screen on the Cintiq Pro 24 has edge-to-edge glass, so there's no bezel to interrupt your strokes. The Cintiq Pro 24 is made with etched glass, which has a paper-like feel with virtually no parallax. The Cintiq Pro 24 supports multi-touch. The Cintiq Pro 24 offers better build quality. And the Cintiq Pro 24 has a 2-year warranty versus a 1-year warranty with the XP Pen. In regards to the pens, the Pro Pen 2 has an eraser, while the XP Pen does not. The pressure sensitivity, tilt, and line quality are better with the Pro Pen 2. And the Cintiq Pro 24 supports other pens, including the Art Pen, which supports barrel rotation, a very useful feature. For what it's worth, the Artist 24 Pro comes with a built-in stand that is adjustable. The Cintiq has built-in legs, but if you want to get it upright, you'll need to spend even more to buy a decent stand or monitor arm. I know, this isn't even a fair comparison. The Cintiq Pro 24 crushes the Artist 24 Pro in terms of specs and quality, but it's worth pointing out that the Artist 24 Pro is about as close as these budget display tablets can get to competing with the top-of-the-line Cintiq Pro. On the other hand, if we're judging based on price, there's no question that the Artist 24 Pro is much more affordable. I doubt there are many folks out there who are deciding between these two tablets because of the price difference. You have to be a professional who earns enough to justify the cost of a Cintiq Pro, otherwise it's overkill for the average artist. Now let's see the Artist 24 Pro compared to the Cintiq 22, which is more comparable in price at $1,199.95. As with the Cintiq Pro, the Cintiq 22 comes with the Pro Pen 2, which is a better pen than what's offered by XP Pen. The Cintiq 22 has a stand that is better designed and more stable. The cables on the Cintiq 22 are more secure and attached to the top rather than the side of the tablet. And the Cintiq 22 is pre-calibrated for color accuracy. The Artist 24 Pro has a more accurate color at 90% of Adobe RGB versus the Cintiq 22, which only has around 70% of Adobe RGB. The Artist 24 Pro has twice the resolution of the Cintiq 22. The Artist 24 Pro has 20 shortcut buttons. If you want shortcut buttons for your Cintiq 22, you'll need to purchase an Express Key remote at an additional cost. The Artist 24 Pro has 2 USB ports for connecting peripherals. The Cintiq 22 has none. And finally, the Artist 24 Pro can connect to your computer with a single USB-C cable, whereas the Cintiq 22 requires HDMI and USB-A. Going off of specs alone, the Artist 24 Pro appears to beat the pants off of the Cintiq 22, but specs aren't everything. I'd happily sacrifice some color accuracy and resolution to have a better drawing experience, better build quality, and a better stand that is more secure. You'll have to weigh the differences to see which features are important to you. And now for my conclusion. As with these budget tablets, there's always a reason why the price is lower. Sure, the QHD resolution and color accuracy do make this one of the best budget display tablets I've tried. But what's holding this tablet back is the pen and drawing experience. You can add all the bells and whistles you like, but if the drawing experience suffers, then what's the point in spending $899? I hope you enjoyed my review of the XP Pen Artist 24 Pro. Be sure to check out some of my other drawing tablet reviews and become a member of my channel to get access to bonus review content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.